Willie D Live.
What's up, family? We got a crash dummy who went viral after trying to run off with an Army veteran's money, not knowing that the store clerk could lock the door and trap him inside. Check it out. There he is. Look at him. Plotting right now. He's plotting. There's the Army veteran to your left. Oh, he made his move. Boom. He's trying to get away. Trying to get up out of there. Look at that. He wasn't even all the way situated. If he had made his move and then just taken off, he might have stood a chance. But check at this fool. Look at this fool. Old man, when he got his money, he was like, give me my damn money. Now watch your buddy pull up with that thing. He got that heat hanging. He got the fire. Like, get that man back his money, sucker. Chump. Look at this clown. Man, calm down. For all of the men who were there, who came to the old man's aid, I ain't got no problem with that. We need more of it. That's what we got to do, y'all. We got to start back looking out for each other, because we ain't going to make it unless we do. We're not going to make it. Even when the worst of the worst was happening to us, overall, we still looked out for each other. We still had a sense of community. You still knew your neighbors. You loved your neighbors. You looked out for your neighbors. You looked out for your neighbors' children, and vice versa. They looked out for you, and they looked out for your children. You could count on that. Nowadays, not so much. Everybody's scared. Don't nobody want to get involved. It's mind your business. Oh, man, you knocking that man hustle. Let me tell you something. If you are trying to rob an old man, an old woman, if you're trying to rob a veteran, you're a poor hustler. A poor excuse. You're not even really a hustler at all. You're a clown, a crash dummy. The entire community need to wage war against you. There should be no refuge for uncivilized mutts within our community. We got to treat these uncivilized mutts the same way we treat those outside. In fact, we got to be even harder on them. Yeah. If we want to regain our neighborhoods, if we want to get back to the days of respect, honor, some level of civility, man, we got to make these uncivilized mutts uncomfortable. Now, I'm going to tell you something, fam. They did better than me. Buddy had the fire on him. He was ready. But it would have been hard for me not to get a few licks off. Like, because just thinking about it, right? You know, I get it, fam. We got to have grace. But certain things, you know, you got to attach your ass whooping to it. Just certain things, you know, like it would have been hard for me not to go upside and say, I would have had to at least slap him. I'm talking about not regular slap. I'm talking about slap the dogs. I'm talking about like, bam, and on contact, he just feel like somebody hit him in the head with slapped him with a 2x4. We got to get back to that, fam. And we got to get back to some humility. Like, why would you want something like that on your record? Yeah, man, this old man, he was at the counter, man. He was counting money. I just snapped it and took off running. There should be nobody you should be able to go to who would be okay with that. Even if it was somebody who was hard up for money, they should be like, man, you did what? Nah, man, I don't want it now. I know y'all know I need it, but I don't even want that little $10. I don't know. I don't want that 20, that 50, whatever. I don't even want it, bro. I don't want it like that. I want to get some money, but I don't want to get it like that. I don't want that on my record. This is what it's going to take. It's going to take, first and foremost, those of us who are within these communities to step up. You got to be the change that you seek. It's got to start with you. You got to have some type of discipline, and you got to have some type of honor about yourself. You got to have boundaries. You got to set boundaries for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be lying up in a morgue with a wire cut in your chest, or sitting behind bars, just watching the years go by, looking outside, looking through the window, or perhaps on a yard with gates around it, like a dog. Yeah, that's kind of how dogs are. Dogs who are kept inside of the fence. They can roam all around inside of the fence, but they can't go out of that fence unless their master allows them to. And even if they'll let them outside that fence, they got to come back in by a certain time. Yeah, so we got to get used to holding ourselves accountable first and foremost. I say self first because some of us, we don't fear nothing. We have no fear of nobody. Who gonna check me? Who gonna check me? Ain't nobody gonna do that. Okay, how about checking yourself? If you have any kind of scruples about yourself, any type of honor, any type of valor, check yourself first. And then you don't even have a situation like that. But let's say we got an uncivilized mutt that didn't check himself. So we got to check him. The community got to step up and check him. And we got to step up collectively. That should be not one person saying, leave him alone, let him go. What that should be people saying is that, get him, whoop his ass. That's the type of message that needs to be conveyed. You prey on the vulnerable in our society, the most vulnerable in our society, because everybody's vulnerable to an extent. You prey on the most vulnerable in our society, we are going to prey on you. Yeah. In fact, we're going to have your family praying over you. That's how it's got to be. We got to get back to that. Everybody need to automatically, as soon as you see it happening, boom. And look, every now and then when we step in and when we intervene in certain conflicts and, these uncivilized mutts are doing what they do, every now and then, it ain't going to work out for the good guys. Every now and then, somebody might end up dying. But look at the overall picture. Look at the overall picture if we do nothing. Do you really want a society where women are being RAP'd in broad daylight, in the open, public spaces, on city buses? Because this has happened before. That's why I'm specifically mentioning city bus. This has happened before. City buses, subways, on the sidewalk. Little kids are getting beat up by grown people right on the street. And nobody steps in because everybody's afraid of being harmed. So by you being afraid of being harmed, you end up harming yourself even more, because what this does is emboldens the uncivilized mutts. Because the uncivilized mutt know now that they're going to go unchecked. They know, I can snatch this woman purse, bust her in her face. Ain't nobody going to do nothing. Everybody minding their own business. Everybody's scared. So, especially if I got a gun, they scared. They ain't going to do nothing. That's the mentality. So, what we have to do is instill the fear in them, that same fear that they have that prevents them from violating people in other communities or from violating police officers. Yeah, we got to instill that type of fear in their asses. You ever notice that? Boy, they'll check anybody but a police officer. Oh, they ready for anybody. They ready, drop of a dime. They'll check anybody, swing on anybody, beat down, shoot anybody. Police, yes, sir, sir. Put the cuffs on, and they walk on it. The police can just order them to go to jail. Hey, turn yourself in at 3 o'clock, or we coming to get you. They right there turning themselves in, big bad ass, turning themselves in. Yeah, the community, they should fear us more than they fear the police. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.